Okay, hello and welcome back to Perry Geriatric, where you get the rantings and ramblings of a near geriatric person. And you're going to notice I did away with the sunglasses. I can't read the notes that I make, and I've missed some things, and it's just not easy to operate everything that I want to operate with the sunglasses, so they had to go away. Yeah, I thought it was going to be some kind of gimmick, or once I reached 100,000 subscribers, I'd get rid of it. But anyway, this one, it's a pretty personal one, and I want to give you where I'm coming from without getting into, you know, all my personal information, everything. But this is why I managed to quit and stay quit from alcohol without AA. And I just want to preface this right away. It's probably going to sound like I'm bashing AA. I will point out plenty of things that I found wrong with it. But I don't really feel like I want to or need to bash it. Most people are pretty aware that the real success rate of AA, the real one, if you look it up, yeah, look up success rate and you'll get one number, and then you put in the word real and you'll get something a lot closer to a single digit or 10% or whatever it is. But it's a small number. It's right about there with, the stomach stapling surgery. But like I said, I don't want to bash it. It provides a lot of help for a lot of people. And one thing that it provides that I didn't get doing it my way is community and structure. Alcohol is evil. AA is really fulfilling a useful role, however poorly they do it. But yeah, if alcohol was discovered 10 years ago, it would be scheduled the same as opioids, heroin, meth. There is nothing good, nothing therapeutic about it whatsoever. So, just to get into where I was coming from, yeah, I just want to make sure I can hear the audio there. But yeah, where I'm coming from and where I was when I got to AA, well, before I even got to the hospital, I didn't even mean to quit drinking. I'd been cutting back. I was still managing to work 5 days a week. I was actually quite proud to be a functional alcoholic, that I had a job, but I also had my time, my drinking, and for the most part, never missed a day. Self sufficient, paying my bills, still going to work, being an alcoholic. What I did notice was I thought my weight was going up. My belly kept getting bigger. My feet and ankles were swollen pretty regularly. It was getting hard to tie my shoes. My clothes were uncomfortable. So, yeah, I thought I was just getting fat, but that's not what was going on. That was not fat. But I was still drinking, so what I decided was I'd change some of my intake, not trying to outdrink a bad drinking habit, but change half of my drinking from beer to tequila, hoping, that would help. And of course, when it didn't, I just switched to wearing sweatpants instead of things that didn't fit anymore. I was noticing that I didn't quite feel like I was right at about 8 to 10 drinks. I didn't feel like I needed to drink all of them anymore. And I don't know, I thought that was a little odd, but didn't really think anything about that. But like I said, I just switched to wearing sweatpants to deal with how bloated I was and not tying my shoes anymore. But at that point, it was a condition known as edemas, where fluid builds up around the belly, on the legs, around the ankles. Well, if you let that go too long, edema runs out of space and becomes something called anascara. And that means the edemas throughout your whole body. So, yeah, you can use your imagination. It got strange. It got weird. I had to go to the hospital and find out what was going on, and that's when they were able to tell me a small portion of what they were able to find of how bad it was, and literally told me to say your goodbyes, as in, you are not expected to live more than a few days, maybe a couple of weeks. I literally called the people in my life that I knew and had to say goodbye. That's the point I was at. I actually have no memory whatsoever of these because that's how bad off I was. So, obviously, there was more going on, but I was at a very fragile, not going to make it out of the hospital, and then eventually upgraded to stable, and then they started working on the many problems that I had one by one, and then got out of the hospital, and then had to deal with the fact that I'm not going to be drinking anymore. And then that's the person that walked into AA. So, yeah, my memories of that time aren't that good either, because my take on AA, what had me not going there, I don't remember there being anything like the talk about a higher power to, turn me off. Maybe, like I said, I wasn't paying attention, or I wasn't in the right frame of mind to hear that. Like I said, I had a lot more going on than just the withdrawal from alcohol and how to move forward. Basically, I knew I couldn't afford to fall off the wagon. A big part of AA is welcoming people back after failure. I knew I didn't have that option. And before the meeting even started, it was a bad neighborhood, residential Las Vegas. I don't know, I'm compulsively always early. Maybe I was 15, 20 minutes before the meeting. There were already plenty of people in there. There were also people, of course, outside smoking before the meeting. That's pretty normal. However, they were smoking crack cocaine. You could smell that. So before the meeting even happened, I'm kind of a little leery of it. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't have any sponsor. All I knew was falling off the wagon is fine with these people, and there's people getting high on crack right outside. And then, of course, they came in and joined the meeting, and that smell came in there with them. So, yeah, it really wasn't hard to see them just as a bad risk. Any of them. And my life, which I'd already had to take stock of, where I was, what I had, what I don't have, all aspects of it, didn't have room for failure, didn't have room for falling off the wagon. None of what I wanted out of my life, out of my future, had any room for alcohol or apparently AA. And yeah, okay, I can mention one thing that I did hear that really did turn me off and really stuck with me. It really wasn't hard to hear I'm powerless over alcohol. It's just incredibly bad self-talk. I mean, I will fully admit what the damage alcohol has done to me and that I have to live with every day of my life. But I'm not pining away for it. I don't feel like it has power over me. It damaged me permanently, but it's not in my head. It's not messing with me day to day. I don't want it. But that's just me. And like I said, there's the failure rate of AA, and then there's the real one that you can look up. And I already knew that before I got in there, and I was able to see the after effects. People, I've met plenty of people in recovery, plenty of people who, when they're stressed out, there's a term you young kids may not know called jonesing. That just basically means people withdrawing, people jonesing for a cigarette if they haven't had one for 12 hours, or someone hasn't had a drink all day, or they had a bad day or a stressful time and like, I really need a drink. That's what jonesing is. I've seen plenty of people, ex-alcoholics, AA members, that when they're stressed, I need to get to a meeting. And that need, that drive, I mean, it is a much more healthy thing than, I need to consume a substance and drug myself out of my mind. But it really wasn't hard to see that that drive was still there, that addiction was still there. They need the community. And yeah, that's one aspect of AA that I could see very easily. It's the double-edged sword of the fact that it does give you community. You are also, your recovery, your sobriety is partially based, therefore, in the community. You're quitting for others besides yourself. That really doesn't work. You really need to find your own inner diagnosis, your own reason why your future life and plans do not have any room for alcohol in a small relapse or on a weekend only. If you're watching this and you have trouble with alcohol, you just need to find why you aren't ever going to drink again, why it's just a complete non starter in your life. So, hopefully, some of this helps somebody somewhere. And as always, if you find my content enlightening, amusing, or engrossing in any way, or you just want to help out, find the like, subscribe buttons, poke 'em, point 'em, comment, ask questions, and we'll see each other again. And thanks.